Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Chelsea and I'm a first time mum to Rose. Today's video, I'm back in this seat, and when I'm in this seat, you know I have something to say that I haven't done like a sit down video in a long time, just because I haven't had time with uni and everything. I'm doing a master's at the moment, and I just made a video recently about how I'm balancing it all, and I'll link that here and also down below. But yeah, today's video is going to be talking about my experience with postpartum depression. And at the time I didn't know I had postpartum depression, and it's so funny because, not funny, but like, because I'm like in this field of like mental health and all that, it's just mad that I didn't really I don't know, I think I knew I was depressed, but I thought that I wasn't like a good mother. But anyways, I'm just sharing this video because I know that it's very common for mothers to experience postpartum depression, but also just if you are out there and you feel like you're experiencing it, I'm just sharing it so that you don't feel alone, and maybe this may encourage you to seek help. And it doesn't always have to be professional help. There are things that you can do on your own without seeking like help from others. So yeah, let me get into it. So there are like predisposing factors for postpartum depression. So that means like there's certain things that have happened to you or your situation. There's different factors that affect whether or not you can get postpartum depression. And I would say that I had a lot of risk factors, and at the beginning of pregnancy they usually do like what is it called, like an assessment, and they ask you like if you've had any mood disorders in the past. So mood disorders could be like anxiety or depression, and I have had depression throughout my I would say early to late 20s. I mean, I'm 28 now, so yeah. So that was one of the risk factors, and there were some other things which I can't really touch on because it's not appropriate, that would put me not high risk, but at a risk of getting postpartum depression. Anyway, so I mean, yeah, I had a great birth, had a great pregnancy, and I was loving the first couple of weeks of motherhood. Obviously exhausted and tired, but like this whole human took over our lives. It was very emotional, but it was great fun. And I think I don't want to say turning point, but the point that sort of caused the dip, and I think I've talked about that on my channel before, like, I don't know, my breastfeeding video or something. I'll link that up here and down below as well, but maybe if I haven't, but I'll touch on it quickly. I had this night where Rose did not sleep except for 40 minutes, and that was literally the point at which I just had like a huge dip, and I don't think I recovered from that dip until maybe like 3 months ago. On top of the exhaustion of motherhood and adjusting to this whole new normal. So yeah, that night she didn't sleep for more than 40 minutes. I was delirious, as in like I was just so tired, like exhausted, crying. It was not great. And I think from that point on I was like, why the hell did I become a mum? And a lot of the things that I say in this video, I think a lot of the reason why women don't actually come out and talk about it is because the thoughts that you're having are not deemed as thoughts that a mother should have. And I guess that's another thing, pressure being put on mothers to feel it's like a certain way about motherhood, to always love it, to always think that it's worth it, to always be this ball full of love. And mothers can't do that. No one can do that. So I don't know why people then expect when people become mothers that they should be able to give endless love, be like endlessly happy. And people don't outrightly say that, but when you say like, oh, I'm questioning whether or not I should have it, I had this baby, I'm feeling angry right now, I'm feeling frustrated, people then say, oh, but it's worth it. So that kind of just like sort of creates that narrative that mothers shouldn't feel that way, if that makes sense. So yeah, from that point on I was like, I don't know, man, I don't think I'm made for this motherhood thing. And then from that moment on, I guess I felt really isolated. I felt like a lot of the thoughts that I had in my head, no one had actually like come out and said them. And from that night when I had that huge dip, I did access some support from what is it called? Some services, but it took a really long time for like the services that actually help me. And that's obviously another thing. Like, if you don't have the support, like family support, professional support, if it takes a long time to access those things, then also that can affect like how you deal with postpartum depression, or if you experience it. So between like crisis point, because I'll call that not a crisis, between crisis point and then like actually getting the support, I was better, like as in I felt better. Like, I guess that was the lowest of the low. So I wasn't feeling like great, but I was feeling survivable, I suppose. That's how I felt for the first like 10 months of motherhood. Like, I was just surviving. So yeah, I was having really intrusive thoughts, not like I want to kill my baby, and those are thoughts that mums do have, but I was having thoughts of like, I just want to run away, I don't want to do this anymore, what would life be like without having a baby, why did I decide to have a baby? And these thoughts are because I have postpartum depression. It's not because, so if you're having these thoughts, it's not because you're a bad mother, or maybe you don't have postpartum depression, you're just going through a hard time as a mum, which is also normal. These thoughts are all normal. I think when we try and label thoughts as bad and good, then that creates guilt, and then we start feeling like we shouldn't feel these thoughts, and that creates lots of conflict in our head. So normalize these thoughts. It's okay to feel these things in moments where things are really, really hard. And I would like be up late at night searching on the internet, like seeing if people have regretted the decision to become a mother. And I know people might be like, oh, you regretted your baby. No, I had postpartum depression. I was feeling very isolated, going through a really hard time. So that's some of the things that I experienced. I also isolated myself from everyone. Actually, I kind of question this one. I isolated myself from people who I felt weren't there for me, or people who I just didn't want in my space. And that is one of the symptoms of postpartum depression, just isolating yourself from people. But I'm kind of umming and ahhing at that one. I'm not sure, because I was around people who I wanted to be around, but I guess from the outside it may seem like I was isolating myself from others. But I feel like I was very protective of my space and my energy. But again, that was a bit isolating because of the situation that I live in currently. Other things that I did, I was very snappy. And that's down to lack of sleep, but also, yeah, just very snappy, very teary, low mood constantly. Like, I couldn't see, like, if someone came and was like, what was a good thing about your day? I'd be like, I don't know, like, nothing was good about this day. Every day felt like Groundhog Day, and that's common when you're a mother, because you're doing the same thing every single day. You can switch up activities, but it's like nappy change, nap, feed, change, sleep, awake. Like, the routines can be a bit monotonous, and it can be quite draining. So I feel like it was very monotonous. Every day felt like the same. I didn't have a lot of support, and I think that's something that is overlooked so much. Support is just something that is needed so much when you become a new mum. And I would say to all mothers, if you are a mum now and you're feeling really low, see what support you can get. It might have to be paid support, like you might have to pay someone to come and help you, maybe a nanny, or maybe you can access something within your community. But yeah, that was something that was really like a sort of a shocker, that just like knocked both me and my husband off our feet. Like, we didn't really have the support that we felt that we needed. Another thing I would say that I experienced was just not wanting to be associated with motherly activities, like going to baby groups and stuff like that. Again, that's because I felt isolated, and that's a whole nother topic in itself. Like, being the only black person in a space, if you're a black person, you will get this. Sometimes we just don't want to be the only black person in a space, and that's okay, that's fine. Where I live, not a lot of black people, and I just didn't want to, when I was feeling like constantly tired and overwhelmed, I didn't want to be the only black person in a space feeling even more alienated in my experience, because I was already feeling alienated because I was feeling depressed, which was postpartum depression. I didn't know. Then I feel alienated because I'm the only black person. Not a good mixture. So I sort of, and everything that was like motherly, like I feel like I was trying to separate myself from that. Maybe that was just my way of processing this whole experience, trying to like sort of sort out my identity. Who am I in this new role? And that was really hard for me. And another thing which I also did, which I didn't realize, I got rid of lots of baby stuff. Like, quickly. And I think for me, it was like, I'm never doing this ever again. Why the hell would anyone want to have 2 children? So for me, getting rid of all this stuff was a reminder and just my way of, I guess, processing this really hard change. I don't want it. I'm not keeping it. Get it out of the house. As soon as she's grown out of it, get rid of it. Don't want it. I got rid of lots of things. And a lot of people say, oh, keep it for your next baby. I was like, and that really triggered me. It's like, there ain't going to be a next baby. Like, no, no, no. And then there still might not be. And even though I'm feeling different now, there might not be a next baby because having a child is not guaranteed. And maybe I don't want to go through it all over again. Last thing I would say that's really was like a telltale sign that I had postpartum depression was when Rose was sleeping, I could not sleep. Like there would be times where she would be fast asleep and I'll just be up thinking, going through thoughts in my head, thinking of how I could escape the situation, thinking of all the choices that I've made that have led to this point. And one of the symptoms of postpartum depression is sleep irritability outside of taking care of your child. And I just did a presentation on postpartum depression, so if that sounds a bit like textbook based, that is one of the symptoms. Sleep irritability, sleep disturbance outside of caring for your infant. And yeah, there was times where she was sleeping and I'll just be up, not being able to sleep, couldn't get back to sleep. And then obviously if I'm not taking advantage of the fact when she's sleeping on little to no sleep already plus breastfeeding, then obviously I'm going to be even more tired, which then impacts my mood and impacts my ability to function. Whew. So yeah, it wasn't great. Sleep was something that really impacted my mental health overall. And I think that added into the whole sort of cycle of having this postpartum depression. The one thing I would say that helped me was I kept exercising throughout this. Some days I was like just doing it because I knew long term it might pay off, but at the moment, at that time, it did not pay off. And I would say I only started to feel better about being a mum. I had another thing I had as well was lots of brain fog, like fogginess. I couldn't think. I couldn't even form sentences. Like I knew I was recording videos, but in real life, like I just couldn't string any sentences together. My brain was constantly foggy. I was constantly forgetting things, and that's also a sign of postpartum depression. And I was like, how the hell am I gonna go back to uni and actually like function when I can't even string like a sentence together and I have to do academic stuff to a master's level? But we made it, baby. Well, we're not there yet, but we're doing it and we're doing it great. And yeah, I was gonna say, to finish off this video, I didn't really get better. I didn't have any antidepressants. It was something that was offered to me when I contacted the GP, because when I had that crisis night, they referred me to the GP and they were like, do you want to try antidepressants? And I was like, no, because I'm breastfeeding and I was obviously worried about the impact of that on me, but also my daughter. So the things that I did, I mean, yeah, it didn't get better for me personally until she was about 10 months old. So that's only 3 months ago. Is when I really started to enjoy motherhood. I think I was able to cope much better when I wasn't having enough sleep because she was sleeping more. Because I don't know, this fog of newness of motherhood lifted. I was feeling more independent and more empowered about who I am as a mother, knowing that all the decisions that I make are right. Not gonna lie, I still have moments where I'm like, I question being a mum because I love being a mum. Moments where I'm like, I can't do this, but I'm able to, as I say, cope much better on little sleep, or I'm getting more sleep. I'm able to cope much better with my frustrations. I also had started therapy, and that's a way of sort of recognizing like childhood trauma, working through how I sort of deal with my own trauma and parent my child, because when you become a parent, lots of stuff from your childhood comes up and it hits you hard, and if you don't deal with that, you're just going to repeat the cycle. So therapy helped. As I said, I continue to exercise throughout the whole experience, and I also I don't have a lot of friends, but I have the friends that I have are great, and they're always there to listen to me vent and talk about not just motherhood, but everything. And I feel like, as I said, support is really important throughout this time. And also, I spend a lot of time outdoors, and those are the things that help for me. I'm not going to say they necessarily will help for you, but I just wanted to let you know that if you're going through this, it will get better. I can't say when, because I felt like it would never get better, like I would never enjoy being a mum. And here we are. I love Ray. And throughout this all. I loved my daughter. I think I was questioning like whether I even love her, but I loved her. I supported her. I met her every single need. Every time she cried out and needed me, I met that regardless of how I was feeling. And I feel like, yeah, that makes me a great parent because I was meeting all her needs despite how I was feeling. So yeah, I can't say when it will get better, but I hope this video helps you to see that you're not alone and that you can do it. You can do, I feel like mothers are amazing. We are strong women. Like, we mothers, I take my hat off to all the mothers that have come before me, because, and all the mothers who are mothering now, because it's not an easy job. But yeah, see your GP, talk, reach out to people who you trust, spend time outdoors if you can, exercise, make sure you're nourishing your body, even if you're not breastfeeding, just to keep you going, and find moments where you can just sit and reflect on how far you've come and all the things that you're doing as a mother. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this helps you. See you in my next video. Bye.